All right, hey folks, so sorry about the issue earlier. Totally did not realize what I was doing there and just joined the wrong section's Zoom meeting. So I'm so sorry about that if you were planning on joining live and can no longer attend live. However, if you do want to meet with me one-on-one anytime this week, I'm available. I do not have any in-person classes, so I'm happy to meet with you one-on-one if you'd like me to. And I again just want to apologize for getting off to a rocky start there. Totally my bad on that one. And I again apologize if I inconvenienced you at all. So I want to try to make this as quickly or as quick and as painless as we possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we are going to get into the bulk of our virtual orientation. And I'm Sarah Shuford. I'll be your online instructor for this semester. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so if you are just now logging into Blackboard, you have not logged into Blackboard prior to this, this is going to be our announcements page. Any updates to the course, anything like that will be posted here, and you'll also receive an email coming from this as well. So I would just make sure that you're checking your Blackboard and your announcements weekly, if not daily, would be probably the most ideal because sometimes there are last minute changes to things, or if there's big general issues going on, then I can address them here instead of responding individually through email. So if you go to the left side of the course page here, we also have the syllabus and the course entry quiz, the course information, and the faculty information. So the syllabus is going to be super important, and we're actually going to do a little PowerPoint version of the syllabus here shortly, but essentially I just want you to acknowledge the syllabus as being a contract between myself and you, saying that you understand the course policies, procedures, and just really anything about the course will be listed in the course syllabus. Course entry quiz, if you have not already done this, super important for our census. I will be tracking you down if you have not completed the course entry quiz. I need that for the course auditing purposes, and this just acknowledges that you have entered the course officially, and there is a record of your participation in the course. The course info, super important as well. Would refer to this, if not daily, weekly at least. This is going to be any important school closures, that sort of thing, just like pre-assigned dates will be listed there, any breaks that the college acknowledges, that sort of thing. I do want you to acknowledge, though, that because this is a online course specifically, if you're a college now student and your high school has a school closure that is not listed here, that will not be acknowledged in our course schedule. You will still have assignments that are due that week, and you'll still be expected to be working on your college courses during that time. Now, if we were a seated course, it might be different because obviously you wouldn't be there, so I could not be there to teach you. But with the online courses, we are only following the Gaston College course schedule. Sorry, I have something in my eye. The Gaston College course schedule, and we cannot acknowledge the high schools as well because there are so many different high schools that have different schedules and different, things like that. So we're just following the Gaston College schedule. We also have here our methods of evaluation, which I'll get into more during our syllabus PowerPoint. And then we have our calendar, which is the most important thing here probably. This is just letting you know what is due every week. This week, for example, is pretty light week. We're just kind of getting started. It'll show you that we're just, doing the Welcome to Art Appreciation, reviewing the course expectations, calendar, etc. Completing our course entry quiz that I just made you aware of up here. And again, course entry quiz is just going to take you like 30 seconds to do. It's just a really, really short thing. So you don't need to sit down and prepare to take it. You can take it on your phone if you need to, but it just acknowledges that you have entered the course. We also have an icebreaker discussion this week as well that will be in the Start Here folder. And if you'll look here, we've got under week 1, I've got a little tab that says accessible via Blackboard and then an arrow pointing to Start Here, which is going to be right there. And that's going to be the same for all of our different little modules and things. It'll say accessible via Blackboard and module 2, module 3, etc. So that's where you can expect to find these activities out. If we go all the way down here, we've got some more information. We've got our extra credit information listed here that I'll also go over in the syllabus as well. But that's just a little reminder for it if you need it. We've got our email policy listed here, which is super, super important in case you ever forget what the email policy is. You can reference it right there. Also, we'll go over that shortly as well. And also our netiquette, which is if you are emailing me, what you should prepare to do as far as like the do's and don'ts of online communication. If you feel pretty good about that, you don't feel like you have to read this, but if you are, new to emailing, especially with college professors, I would definitely take a look at the netiquette information there. All right. And the last thing is just faculty info. I have that listed right here, just with my email listed again. My work phone. I want to let you know though that my work phone, I have that. It is definitely there for you to call if you need to. However, I'm also only in my office on Mondays and Wednesday morning/afternoon. So if you call me on Thursday, I'm probably not going to get back around to your email or to your phone call until the following Monday. Email is the best way to communicate with me, and I'll get back to you within a couple hours if you need me. And yeah, let's go back to our modules here. Or I'm sorry, go back to this little part right here. I'm going to click on a PowerPoint that's going to go through our syllabus. You can find this PowerPoint at any time if you click on the Start Here module and you go to the very bottom where it has the little PowerPoint links right there. Also, this video recording will be on this page as well with the other Start Here information. So let's jump right into that PowerPoint and we'll get started. All right. So this is again just my instructor information. My email address, my office location is in the Robinson Classroom Building on the main campus of Gaston College. And I do have office hours. That's Monday and Wednesday from like 10:30 to 1:30 generally. However, with online classes specifically, I almost never have people come in person. But if you do want to call me during that time using my office phone, I will be in my office during those hours. So I'll get back to you pretty quickly. But again, email, best way to reach me by far, because I do teach at the high schools in the area in person as well. So I'm kind of just like floating all around every day. There's no telling where I might be at a given time. This is just our course description, and I'm just going to go through this really quickly. Our course is a combination of art theory, learning about art mediums, and learning a little bit about art history as well. So it's kind of just like a smorgasbord of everything visual art related. We're not going to really be making that much artwork. It's just kind of giving you an overview of what visual art is and what it has to offer. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through each of our student learning outcomes. Those are listed on our syllabus if you'd like to go through what it is specifically that we'll be learning in the course. Important one for sure. This is an OER-based course, so our OER class does not require a textbook that you have to purchase. Really big bonus because you do not have to pay for that. You just have to pay for the course fee, which is great. This can be a really great thing because you again, don't have to pay for anything. However, you do need to make sure that you're keeping up with the rest of the course-based material. So that's going to include Edpuzzle videos that are, unfortunately for you guys, they are pretty lengthy Edpuzzle lectures, but that is where you're getting the bulk of your information from. We'll also have like skeletal notes that you can fill out, and not like anatomy skeletal, but it'll be like a outline essentially of what we've gone over in our lectures. We've got PowerPoints, videos, and more that will make up our course material. And if you don't know what OER is, I should have backed up there. OER just essentially means open educational resources, meaning that there's no fees essentially for a textbook. All right. Online attendance policy, very, very important as well. We do have a policy here at Gaston College where if a student is absent, and by absent, it means that you have not submitted anything on Blackboard for 21 consecutive days, that the instructor is required to withdraw that student from the course. So if you fall into that, if for some reason you are inactive for 21 days and it is before the withdrawal date, which is April 11th, 2024, obviously, then you will have a WI listed on your transcript. This does not affect your GPA, so it won't drop any points or anything. However, if you go inactive and it's beyond the withdrawal period, so even if you start not being active on April 9th, and it goes over the 11th, and so you go inactive for 21 days, you are past the withdrawal date, so it'll go in as an F on your transcript, which will affect your GPA. Just putting that out there. I don't want that to surprise anybody if it gets to you. And I was actually just made aware of this semester, which I was not actually aware of this before. Even if you have like a B in the course when you stop attending, if it goes beyond the 21 days, you will not have a B anymore. You will have an F. It'll like everything, if you go 21 days or longer inactive, will result in an F if it's after the withdrawal date. So just be aware of that. If you had a B when you went inactive, you will no longer have a B, you will have an F if it's after the withdrawal date. Oh, and activity as defined by Blackboard is submitting an assignment. Just logging into Blackboard does not, like your last access to Blackboard, which I do have access to that as well, does not count as attending. So that will not be grounds for like remaining in the course. You have to actually submit something on Blackboard. All right, late work policy. Because of this tendency, I'll say tendency, for students to go inactive for long periods of time, I do not allow late work in this class. No late work will be required because I have had students before that, want to submit late work weeks after things are due, or do things, all at the beginning and then not turn anything in for weeks at a time and then go inactive and be withdrawn. So there's no late work for this class unless there are extenuating circumstances, i.e. like you break your hand, you have to go to the doctor, there's, a death in the family, there's, something that your principal can make a note for and account for you for. But simply like I'm going to the beach for a week and, I'm not going to do any of my work on Blackboard is not, I mean, you can do that and you can miss the work and that's fine, but you cannot have work submitted early and you cannot have the work submitted late if that's the case. All assignments are due at 11:59 on Sundays. So just, have that ingrained in your brain. At 12 a.m. on Mondays, the course will reset and it will go into the following week's work. So everything from the previous week will close and not be available for you any longer. So just keep that in mind. If you submit something at 12:02, it won't go through. I do realize that technical issues do happen. However, with this being a fully 100% based or online based course, you need to make sure that you allow for, that you have the access that you need to internet, Blackboard, computer, all of those things. If you do not have those things with you, I do sympathize. I totally understand things happen, but unfortunately, I cannot allow you to submit late work under those circumstances. And honestly, but like when those things do happen, when you forget where to turn in an assignment, when you forget your charging cable, those things always tend to happen at 11 p.m. on Sunday nights, like right before things are due. And that is not a time that I am able to communicate with you. If you tell me on Wednesday that you can't find your charging cable and you don't know how you're going to get your work turned in for this week, we can deal with that with that amount of time left. But if it's an hour before the stuff is due and you're just now telling me that you have one of these issues going on, that's not going to be grounds for me to allow you to submit your late work, unfortunately. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Also note that Gaston College does have open computer labs and library access on campus. Should you, for any reason, lose your Wi-Fi, lose your computer, anything like that throughout the semester, I will work with you with just about any possible way I can to get you access to Wi-Fi, computer. I'll call tech services for you, do whatever I need to do to make sure that you have access to what you need for this course. But you have to make me aware of those things. You can't, tell me a month later that you haven't had a computer, or you haven't had internet access. At that time, I can't help you, unfortunately. But just be transparent with me, be open with communication, and we will do what we can to make sure that, you don't have to turn in late work. Email policy, another big one for me. This is not a Sarah policy. This is a Gaston College policy. You have to use your Gaston College email address when emailing me or anybody else at Gaston College. You cannot use a personal email address and you cannot use a high school email address. It has to be the one ending in like mymail.gaston.edu. I cannot respond to a high school email. I cannot respond to a personal email. And the reason being is that I need to make sure that my communication is between me and you. I cannot communicate with parents. I cannot communicate with anyone other than the college student themselves about grading, anything like that. That is just a very tight Gaston College policy. And you just need to be aware of that, with me and with all of your other instructors as well. You cannot use a personal or high school assigned email. You must also, and this is specific for me, and I already see that I've messed up on this, unfortunately, you must include your section number in each email that you send me. Every single email that you send me, I want you to include your section number. And ours is not D6E, it is D6D. And that's the last 3 digits and numbers that are, digits and letters that are behind the Art 111 at the top of our course. It's D6D. I teach 7 art appreciation courses that all start with Art 111 every semester. And if you don't put that section number for me, I'm going to have to look through 6 different class rosters in order to find you and the issue that you're dealing with. And I'm not going to get back to you quickly if that's the case. So just, have that, imprinted in your brain, print it out somewhere. You have to include your section number when emailing me if you want a prompt response. Otherwise, I'm not going to prioritize your email. Also, as I said before, please review your Blackboard course information. And there is an item titled Email Netiquette that I showed you. I do not treat emails like text messaging. I still am kind of an old school person with email. I want you to address me as your college professor, use proper grammar, punctuation, spelling, all of that, and then conclude with your name. This is, I am old school about it. I just like email to be done in that way. And this also kind of like sets the ground for not only me communicating with you as a college student, but also you learning how to form emails to, one day be sending to your boss or a colleague. They're not going to want you to not, have your spelling right or have, all lower cases or not address them. You need to be professional when emailing with anyone at your college, really. It's not, text messaging and emailing do not equate. There are definitely different formats and different formalities between the two. Lastly, I do not use Blackboard Messenger. That little email tab that is on Blackboard, not on, the college homepage, but on Blackboard, that is, I'll show you right now, right here. This is Blackboard Messenger. Do not use that. I will not check it, and you will not get a response if it is from Blackboard Messenger. You will, however, be able to access your email for communication with me and anybody else at Gaston College, and also the email that I'm sending information to. If you go here, go to this little tab up here, it's got Blackboard, self-service, and then student email, and click right there. And this is just the Gaston College homepage where you enrolled in college and all of that. That's where all this information was. Student email is there. Also under quick links, it's under students, and then email right there. Your login, you should have that already, but it's probably the information that you use to log into Blackboard as well. But if you have any trouble with that, call tech services immediately. You need to have access to your email 24/7. I would even put it, if you've got your smartphone, I've got the app right here, the Outlook app right there, and you can turn on notifications. And if you get emails from any of your professors, it'll pop up for you, and you won't even have to, get on your computer or anything. But that's what I have. The app on my phone is like, I use that religiously because if I'm, not expecting an email, I might not check my email after 4 p.m., but I'll know that I get one, any time of day on my phone. All right. So let's jump back over and get into the adaptive release. So adaptive release, we've already talked about this. Assignments close at 12 a.m. on Monday, reopen on, assignments close at 11:59 on Sundays and will reset to the following week on Monday at 12 a.m. So just make sure that you're keeping that in mind. Some resources at the college that we have. We have a writing center and a learning center where if you need tutoring or any help with your writing, you can always access that. Super helpful. Lots of my students have used the writing center before, and I'd highly recommend if you struggle with writing to reach out to them. We will have several writing assignments. Our midterm project, for example, is a big essay. So, if you really do struggle with writing, if, English is not your first language, then I would for sure send your stuff to the writing center and have them revise it for you. I don't want you to get points deducted just because like your spelling and grammar are not up to par, but your content's there. So, but you know, that is sort of like some groundwork that you need to have for this course is to be able to, you know, have good organization, have good formatting, know how to write an essay. It's just kind of, you know, you need to have those skills prior to this. And if you don't, then we have resources to help you with those. Another one, very important. I usually don't include this one, but I had a bunch of issues with it last year. If you have an IEP, if you're a college now student and you currently have an IEP at your high school, that does not necessarily mean that the college has that information. So you need to check with your advisor or whoever it is that like deals with your IEP, and make sure that they have submitted an accommodation request for you at Gaston College. I've got the form here, or not form, but the information from Gaston College's webpage right here where you can read into all of that. I also have our counselor for accessibility, Barbara O'Donnell, who is super helpful. This is her direct line and her email address. Please reach out to her if you're not sure where to start with this, or if you feel like you might need an accommodation, like extra testing time or printed out notes, anything like that. She'll be the one to help you with that, and she can make the accommodation for you. So definitely, you know, if you have the IEP or if you have a learning disability that Gaston College is not aware of, like formally, do that for sure. I have had students, and you know, I'm not. This is just is what it is. But I have had students in the past who have not made me aware of a learning disability that they've had or an IEP that they've had the whole time throughout a college class, and then come back and say this person or my professor didn't help me at all with my IEP and like didn't make extra testing time. And it's not because I wouldn't have, I definitely would have, but that was the first time that I was made aware that there was an issue. I didn't get any type of form or any type of like documentation for it from accessibility services. So there's not much I could have done. But I want to, you know, be able to work with you. I want to be able to give you extra quiz time if you need it. And I will, you know, do whatever I need to do to accommodate your specific accessibility issue. So, you know, just make sure that you have that and that you are, you're aware of that before taking the course. At this time, I have not received any type of accessibility documentation, if that helps at all. If you have an IEP or if you have, you know, an accommodation that you need accommodating for, I have not received it at this time. This is Monday, January 8th, 5 p.m. I have not received any. So if that's you or you feel like I should have, then, you know, try to get on that as quickly as possible. Methods of evaluation, we've got several, and I want to acknowledge that we use weighted grading in this course. So for example, participation is graded using Edpuzzle videos. We've got probably 60 to 70 of those for the whole semester. And those participation videos are weighted very, very smallly. So you'll have, you know, if you watch all of your participation videos, it'll look like you have 60 hundreds in the grade book. But if you've got, you know, one final project that you don't have a grade for, it's 1-0, that's going to drop your percentage by 15% because that's the weight of that project, right? So don't get confused on that. You might have a ton of hundreds, but your grade might not look like you have a ton of hundreds because weighted grading is being used. This is not uncommon. This is how I would say most all professors that I know grade things. A 2-minute video does not equate to a, you know, project that we work half the semester on. It's just not how things work. But if you're confused about that, I'm happy to clarify that further with you. Okay, so let's go through these. This is actually the wrong one here. Our participation, this is from my seated class, but our participation is just watching the Edpuzzle videos in our module folders. As long as you watch the videos and you answer the questions that are associated with them, you will get 100. Now, the Edpuzzle gradebook, it should automatically sync to the Blackboard gradebook. But if a week goes by and you know you've answered the questions and you've watched the video for a Edpuzzle and it's saying that you have a 0, reach out to me. Sometimes there are syncing issues and I can manually go and adjust that for you. Also, make sure that you turn your Edpuzzles in. At the very end of the video, it'll say, good job, turn it in, and you just hit turn it in. But if you don't watch it all the way through, It will not count like partial credit. It's just either you watched it or you didn't, or you answered the questions or you didn't. So make sure you do the Ed puzzle videos. There's a lot of them. If you miss like one or two, it's not a huge deal, but don't miss all of them because that's 15% of your grade. And also you will not have any lecture material. Okay. Assignments and discussions, those are worth 15% each. Assignments and discussions are pretty similar, other than discussions require you to respond to other classmates. Also, please note that discussions are public. Everybody in the class will see what you put in a discussion. Only me and you will see what is in an assignment. So if you are sharing something that's private or you don't want everybody in the class to know, do not put it in a discussion. You can put it in the assignment if you're okay with me knowing it. No one else will have that access, but discussions are open to everyone. So make sure that you are censoring things if you feel like they need to be censored, or not sharing everything if you don't want to share everything. Quizzes are worth also 15% of the total grade. Each module will have a quiz at the end of it, and we have 8 modules, so there'll be 10 questions per quiz. Per module. We'll have 8 quizzes total. We've got 2 projects that are each worth 15%, so very, very heavily weighted. We have a midterm project that's going to assess our knowledge of our learning from the first half of the course, and we're going to write an art analysis of a chosen artwork. More on that to come. Final project is to curate a virtual museum with and this will be from Google Sites. If you ever used Google Sites or built a website before, you'll have a little bit of an advantage, but super user-friendly. If you are not good with technology, Google Sites is very user-friendly. So don't be intimidated by that or anything. And more to come on that later on. That will essentially cover the second half of our course. And we all have a projects folder on the modules page, and all that info is going to be in the projects folder, not in a module folder. And then lastly, we have a final exam that is worth 10%. We've got 2 parts to those, each worth 5%. Part A is something that's designed by the curriculum. So that's going to be something that I have a study guide for us to use. And it's going to be the same exam that is given to all art appreciation courses. Part B is something that I design. And what I do for this is I just reuse old quiz questions that we've scored the poorest on the first time that we took them. And then we will, look at them again and make sure we get the right answers. As you're doing the quizzes along the way, I would highly recommend creating a study guide for yourself by reviewing the correct answers for the quizzes at the end of the quiz. However, after the adaptive release has occurred and the quiz is no longer available, you cannot review those answers. So when you take the quiz at that time, it's when you need to jot those answers down, review it, make sure you know what the correct answers are. You cannot go back in time and look at module 1 quiz at the end of the semester. So you need to be doing those as you're taking the quiz. Lastly, extra credit. Students will have 3 opportunities to receive extra credit, no more, no less. And throughout the semester by attending an art-focused gallery or museum and writing a brief summary of their experience. Each extra credit opportunity is worth 2 points of extra credit, and that will be added to the final grade. So that can be a lot of extra credit. For example, if you've got an 84 in the class and you do all 3 extra credit opportunities, your new final grade will be a 90 because you'll have 2 points for each opportunity. 3 points, 2 times 3 is 6. For the instructions for this, you'll need to attend an approved art gallery or museum. You can just email me and say, hey, is it okay if I go to this gallery? And I'll say yes or no. I'll also post opportunities in the announcements of approved galleries regularly. At any time, the Rausch Gallery on the main campus of Gaston College is approved. Also, I'm not going to list all of the ones that I've approved before, but like the Mint in Charlotte, the Beckler Museum in Charlotte, those are all approved. But they do need to be museums or galleries that you have visited while taking this course. It doesn't need to be like if you went to New York last summer and you saw, artwork from the MoMA, that's not going to count because that's something that you have done in the past, not for this class. You'll need to take a selfie inside of the gallery and a photo of one or more of the artworks that you see in the exhibition, and write 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph is a summary of the exhibit, and you'll include the name of the artist, the mediums, when the work was, what the work looked like, etc. And you'll also need to include a second paragraph with your opinion of the artwork, and you can talk about the artwork or the gallery as a whole. You need to save this as a PDF, don't share like a Google link with me or a Google Drive link. A lot of the times I don't have access to those. So if you have not given me access, so just generally do not submit a link to me. You need to submit the actual like uploaded document itself. Email that to my email address, sschufert@gaston.edu, and all extra credit is due no later than the 3rd of May at 5 p.m. That's the Friday before exams. And then lastly, if you were not already a Gaston College student before now, you are now officially a Gaston College student, which comes with a variety of perks and privileges, including gym access, library access, student discounts, and more. But it also comes with the expectations of college students in the class. So you need to be professional, mature, and respectful at all times. With online classes, this is going to come from your netiquette when emailing me, your promptness, and making sure that you get your assignments turned in, not submitting stuff late all the time or asking for extensions. And then if you are a high school student, and I know this is hard for some of you guys, and probably not only hard for you but hard for your parents as well, you need to be the one communicating with me about your needs for this class, or your concerns with this class. I can't email mom or dad or whoever it is that is emailing me for you. It needs to be contact between me and you. And if I do get parent emails, I will politely respond to them with, please have your Gaston College student reach out to me via email for us to further discuss this matter. I cannot give them any information because they are not the ones signed up for this class. I know that they might have a relationship with your high school teachers and be able to email back and forth with them. This is different. This is a college level course, and I can only respond with the college student themselves. All righty. Last little bit of stuff we need to cover before we end. I know it's gone on a little longer than I wanted it to. If we go up here to the start here, we will look at this is just our general information. Our icebreaker discussion, which is just essentially your favorite artwork. You'll need to create a thread talking about your favorite artwork, include an image of it here, a label for it here, and then a brief 150-word description of why it's your favorite artwork. This is a perfect one, got 100. So if you want an outline for yours, this is a good one to look at. This is a discussion, so you will need to respond to at least 3 classmates to get full credit. So when we go to click here, if you've not done a discussion before, you click on the icebreaker. We already have several people that have submitted it, which is great. You'll need to create a thread up here in the left-hand corner. When you click create a thread, you'll do your subject, which can just be icebreaker, your message, which can be, it's going to have your image uploaded to it and your description, and then just press submit. And then you'll go back to this first page here and just click on 3 or more of those to comment on. And that's all you'll need to do. If you do have any further questions, or if you want to watch this video again, I will promptly have it included at the bottom of this page here, and you can watch it at any time. And then we also have the PowerPoint that I went over today listed right there as well. So if you need to look at that information, feel free to do that. But yeah, otherwise, all you need to do for this week and have done before Sunday night is the course entry quiz, which I will be tracking you down if you haven't got that already. And the course discussion, or like the icebreaker discussion that we just went over. And just familiarize yourself. Take this week to just sort of look around the course, make sure you don't have any questions or anything. If you do have one of those accommodation forms that you need to get filled out, make sure that gets turned in this week. If you have issues with tech services going on, or if you have trouble accessing your email, accessing Blackboard, anything like that, this is the time to get that sorted. Next week, we're going to hit the ground running. And also wanted to mention, in the announcements, I do a weekly check-in with my online classes where I will post a video going over all of the stuff that's due for the week. Check those and watch those weekly. I know that they're kind of annoying and they might be redundant because you can just read that info, but a lot of important stuff is in there usually. And if you need any clarification on assignments, that's where you'll find it at. So look here on Monday of next week, and I will be covering what is due for that week. And if there's anything that changes before then as well, I will make sure to update you in that weekly check-in video. Otherwise, though, that is all I have for you tonight. And again, I so apologize for not being there at 2 o'clock today. And I'm sorry that if that changed, the availability for anybody. But if you do have any questions, or if you want to meet with me one-on-one to ask questions, I'm available to you pretty much anytime this week, 9 to 5, and I will make sure that we are able to talk in person and sort out anything that you need to get sorted out. Otherwise, though, you guys have a great rest of your evening or morning whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you soon.